students wasn't going to church on Sunday, so I have to ask and make sure. All right.
Amen. Praise the Lord.
One thing I want to ask is, what is our mission statement? Amen. Y'all kind of started out a little sluggish a little bit. But let's do that one more time. Our mission statement is...
Servant leaders.
Amen. All right. That was much better. We want to make sure that we keep that going, amen? So that you will know, because whenever someone comes from, we are still in the process of accreditation, and whenever someone comes, they could stop you in the hallway and ask you that.
Yes.
So we're going to make sure that's drilled into you and you would know that, right?
Amen.
That we are equipping men and women to be competent servant leaders with a Bible-centered worldview. Next week, too, by the way, we will be tapping a few of you to come and get with, we just got someone to interview some of the students about the reasons why they are here at SBIC. Amen. So they're going to be interviewing you and recording that because eventually we're going to put that on our website, and moving forward we're going to put it on some of our social media as well. Okay. So if I come tap you and talk to you about it, we'll set up time for you next week to interview with the group that's coming out next week. But today we are privileged to have with us in the house one of our resident theologians.
Amen.
And that is Brother Taylor, Professor Sean Taylor, soon to be doctor. And he handles he's one of our systematic theology teachers.
Yes.
And we're going to come and invite him up. And as he's coming, we're going to talk. Our subject today is why preach eschatology, right? Why the subject of eschatology. He happens to be going through the book of Revelations in his church right now.
Praise the Lord.
But, beyond that, it is a very good thing for us to have a firm handle on. And so we're going to talk about that today. And, man, appreciate you being here.
Amen.
You're not normally here on Tuesdays, are you?
Well, yes.
Oh, you are?
Tuesday morning, yes.
Tuesday morning? Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and so I'm glad you're here. When I was pastoring over in Lancaster, I had some students from the seminary actually come and ask me this question. As I was going through the book of Revelations at the church, they asked this question: why do they need to know about Revelations or eschatology, period? And how would that help them, was their question.
Do you want to start with Revelation or you want to start eschatology?
A little of both.
Let's
Start with Revelation.
Let's start with the book of Revelation. The reason why I need to know about the book of Revelation, the first reason, is because God wrote it.
Right, my God.
And it's his word. And it's a gift. The name of the book is The Revelation of Jesus Christ. Chapter 1, verse 1. It's not just revelation, and talking about events. It's not event focused. Although events are there, it's person focused. It's about the person, the most important relationship that you will ever have. This God, in the person of Jesus Christ, has forfeited his right to privacy. He doesn't even owe you an audience.
All right.
And opens himself up. Remember, the word revelation means to expose. That which was covered now is exposed. He opens himself up to you, not just in terms of his plan, but his purpose, and reveals himself. The greatest gift. Here's my question to you, the person who would ask it. What's the greatest gift that God can give to you?
Salvation.
No, not salvation. Well, yeah. In salvation, what is he giving to you? He's giving to you himself. If the greatest thing in existence or entity in existence is God himself, there's nothing behind him. It's not, I get you, and because I get you, what do I get because I'm with you? No, the fact that I got you and you've exposed yourself, you've given yourself to me. The greatest gift that God can give you is himself. And in the book of Revelation, here I am. I expose to you who I am, and then looking in terms of the stuff that I do get in terms of hope, writing about the past, what has been, writing about what is, things that you are right now, and also telling me about what will be. and then letting you know that to say, okay, now that you know who I am and my plan, now you know how to respond to me in faith. Now you know to respond to me in ways that are worthy of me. So the first reason I say is because he wrote it. Second is because this is the greatest gift that you can get. God revealing himself to you. You know. And it's like, what? You know, so I don't want to get an illustration. Because it's about sex. But it really would hit the point. Look, let me go and give it.
Go ahead.
Make it
This is
plain.
PG now.
Make it plain.
No, it ain't. But yes, it is. But just think about how many of you guys are married or have been or something? Yeah? All right. And it's like you come into your wife or your husband as it relates to sex and say, well, let's just deal with men. You go to your wife and say, well, so if I have sex with you, then what I'm gonna get based on that? Okay, what's the gift beyond sex? It's like, no, sex is the gift. The fact that you gave me yourself, ain't nothing behind it. It's the joy is in that experience itself. And this is crazy. That's not going to God and asking, okay, if you give me yourself, what I'm gonna get beyond that? And that's the problem. I want to use God as a means to something else. He said, I'm it. I am the destination. And so to even ask that question, you know, it's something about our relationship with God to say, well, why? I'm giving you myself, and you say, well, what's the point? There's a disconnect there. So before it's revelation, it's the revelation of Jesus Christ. I'm giving you myself. Eschatology. The reason why eschatology is important, and of course eschatology is dealing with the things to come. The reason why it's important is because it's the foundation of everything you believe. You don't start with, is eschatology important? Here's the question. Is the faithfulness of God important to you? The fact that God is faithful, is that important to you? Well, if that's important to you, eschatology is, because the way that he shows he's faithful is through eschatology, meaning he makes promises. And then puts you in a situation that looks like he's not going to come through. And say, trust me. And then in the midst of what seems to be overwhelming obstacles, he comes through and shows himself to be. So if the faithfulness of God is important to you, then eschatology is important because that's how he shows it. Is justice important to you? All right, well, if justice is important to you, eschatology is important to you because justice doesn't reach its home until God in the future comes and rights all the wrongs. That's right. All right, so if justice is important to you, eschatology is important. Matter of fact, Psalm 73. Why is it that the righteous look like they're prospering? It looks like those who are doing right are catching hell. Those who are wicked seem like they're prospering. And he says, and I went into the temple and I understood. We usually stop. And he went to the temple and started talking about telling people to go to church. Then he said, but when I went to the temple, what did he see? I saw their end. Oh, this is an interview. That's eschatology. And when God showed me, hey, don't think everything on what's going on now, but look at what I'm going to do in the light of what I'm going to do. That gives you faith for the present. So how important is peace to you? How important is harmonious relationships to you? Yeah, the way he's going to bring that is through his kingdom. It's eschatology. So all the things that really matter to us, you don't get the way you get that, the way God gives that to us is through eschatology. All right. I'm living not in light of where I am, but in light of where God has taken me. It's a whole lot of reasons, but I think
that's a good start. Did y'all see how he went from lecture mode to preacher mode? And I knew he was about to do that when he sat up at the front of the seat.
Y'all gonna take me there?
Yeah. So when we're talking eschatology, why is it though then, if we are dealing with eschatology, how can we trust God to fulfill, his promises for the future? What guarantees do we have of that?
That's the whole. Let me frame it like this. Within eschatology, it raises tension. God intentionally raises tension, not just about you, but about himself. And the question becomes, these are two questions that I'm walking the church through this. Can God finish what he starts? Yes? And all right. And can God fulfill his promises? Yes. And of course your answer is yes, and that's the right answer. you know, but he doesn't give it to you that easy. He puts you in a situation that looks like what he started is not going to end. He's not going to finish it. It looks like what he promised is not going to come through. It does, to say that is not to be disrespectful to God. God is the one who set this stuff up like this for you to engage him like that. I mean, think about it. He's making promises to Abraham, father of faith. Let's just start with him. And eschatology, by the way, don't think of just eschatology as rapture and tribulation and what's future for us. Eschatology begins in Genesis. When God starts making promises about the future, that's when eschatology begins. Okay? And by the way, you can look back at what he's done to get an idea of how he's going to deal with you.
Come on now.
Yeah. All right, so I go back. Abraham, the father of faith, right? So he gives him these promises about babies and all that kind of stuff. And then God puts him in a situation where it looks like he ain't coming through. I mean, how long does it take for the guy to have Isaac? Yeah, that's a long time. God is the one who put him in that situation where he's struggling. By the time he gets to chapter 15, he comes to him, rise, I'm your reward and your shield. And Abraham said, man, I ain't hearing all that. Where the baby? You know what? Let me help you out. I want to get my servant over here. Let's just call it a day. You know what I mean? But yet he's still a man of faith, even in the midst of struggle. But God is the one who put him in that thing. All right. So it becomes a walk. How do you do it? It becomes a walk. We walk by faith. We don't skip by faith. We don't jump by faith. We walk by faith. And it's going to take about 15 PhDs to get this. You ready? You need about 15 PhDs to get this one. Y'all ready? Here's the question. How do you walk? One step
At a time.
Ain't that deep? One step at a time. And when it comes to the faith, the future and all that, I get so, and the people we minister to, and even ourselves, I'm tripping about what might be in all the hypotheticals of life, you know what I mean? And what could be. And God say, okay, yeah, I got that. Just take the step that's right in front of you. Just take the step. That's what walking is. One step. When I got it up, and God will give you a future about some stuff that you ain't even gonna go through. Abraham, let's go back to Abraham. Abraham is not going to experience 400 years of his people being in bondage. He's not going to see that. God gives him prophecy about what he is not going to see. But he's saying, look, I'm going to project you and fast forward you into the future and show you I got that in control. Now, why do you need to know that? You ain't going to be there for this, so why do I need information about what I'm going to be? Because I'm giving you a future to let you know I got that in control. And if I can control that, maybe I can control this. Take the walk.
Yeah.
But I'm good for it. That's exactly what's going on in the book of Revelation. By the way, so one step at a time. So God puts us in a situation, asking the question, can he fulfill his promises? Can he finish what he starts? And in church, it's easy to say, yeah, he will, won't he do it, and all that. and those answers are right. But then Monday, I'm coming up and he said, okay, now I'm putting you in a situation where it looks like I'm not coming through. And that's where the faith muscle comes in. You have to work out this faith. By the way, I'm thinking through this, God, in terms of eschatology being, you got to think about the faith factor. The thing that God wants, God is relational. He wants to have a relationship with you. And the basis of any relationship is what? It's trust. If you don't have trust, you don't have anything. So if God wants us to grow in our relationship with him, we're going to have to grow what? In faith. And in order for me to grow in faith, you have to put me in an environment where faith can grow. And that's between promise and fulfillment and the tension that go with it. Yeah. We walk by faith, not by sight. And the just shall what? Live. Not just get saved. 3 times in the New Testament it comes up. In Romans, in Galatians, in Hebrews, the just shall live. Not just get saved by faith, but live by faith. So it's a necessity that he puts me into these situations. Like you ask, what in the hell is going on? I know we don't say this in the Bible, but everybody else outside of what we are say what the hell going on.
Help us, Lord. Help us.
You see, and then I'm having to ask these questions and wrestle with God. Yes. And it's through that I discover more of who he is. And then I come back to church talking about, won't he do it? And he say, okay, now let's go back to Monday. Now with the lesson you learned today, now I'm going to put you through some more. And every round goes higher and higher.
So you would say then, one of the things I heard you say a little bit earlier too, that we can look to the things that God fulfilled in the past as an assured as an assurance of what he would take care of in the future, is right?
Yeah, Doctor.
Yeah. All right. Now, we also have, there is a personal connection that you're also talking about with that, because can't we also look to how God has blessed us in our own personal past and our own personal walk as a deposit and down payment for things that he's going to take care of in the future? Why is there a disconnect for us today in that, in that understanding, in that reality? Why do you think that is?
The disconnect between what now?
Why is there a disconnect in, trusting God with we've seen it work in our past.
Yeah.
Why is there a disconnect in our own personal, if you would, eschatology and trusting God with the future? When we see what he's done in the past, even biblically, and the fulfillments of those, why is it so hard? Because, let me give you an example of this. One of the things that we will often see in church is, when we are facing the next obstacle, we have a lot of people that doubt.
Yeah.
And we'll hear them saying, well, I know he can, but why is there a disconnect?
Because we're fragile. That's the first thing, because we're fragile. And I'm so glad that God uses as the father of faith, Abraham. Because in that model, I'm not seeing a guy who get it right all the time.
That's right.
And I'm not, he's called man of faith, but this stuff is growing, and he's fragile. That passage we were just talking about, chapter 15, right? And he's wrestling with God. Okay, look, where is it at? And then it's in that chapter that he says, counted righteousness, he was faithful. His faith was counted as righteousness, right?
Yeah.
Trusted God. That's chapter 15. Now, after chapter 15 is chapter 16. Now, what happens in chapter 16? I refresh your memory.
Help us, Lord.
Sarah comes to him.
Yes.
And said, look, let's go and help God out. I got this little Egyptian girl over here. And, won't you go on and sleep with her? And then you have a baby by her, and then that'd be our thing. He's like, girl, that's why I'm married. Just what I was thinking. I wanted you to be all right with this. Teamwork make the dream work. Teamwork make the dream work. And this man who was counting righteousness in 15, in chapter 16, he's with Hagar. And he's still a man of faith. You understand? He just got these weak moments. And it's like this. We create this idea of sanctification. We don't, I'm just saying, this general thing. You get saved and you come into the family, right? And it's a line like this. You're saved, and then it's up, better. And that's why we confuse and frustrate so many people, because you done met this line, up. But that ain't how sanctification is uglier than that.
Yes, it is.
Sanctification is like this. Up, down, back, round, over here, down there. If you be honest. This stuff we talk on Sunday about the things I used to do, I don't do no more. Right? Half of the folks 60 and 70, they got arthritis, they can't be like that no more. And the places they used to go are closed. They got to do with sanctification. This is rheumatism. You just need to tell these people, man, go back to Abraham. And it don't make it right. We're not justifying and saying it's okay. No, it's the isness of it. We ain't talking about the awfulness. We're talking about how it is.
Yeah.
And when it comes to faith, it's much uglier than that. The encouragement, though, Doc, and I would say that. And then stuff come in your life that you haven't there. Yeah, I was preaching this at the funeral Saturday, Sister Simon, and talking about a familiar, the day that went on the Lord, it was her favorite passage. And I was talking about it's a familiar scripture, but now having to be adopted to a fresh situation. So I've heard this passage before, but I ain't never been to this place before, where I had to trust him with this. And it becomes somewhat of a struggle. One lady, this girl called me, her husband had died, and premature death and everything, tragic. She was doing all right on the funeral, didn't hit her. And she called me. Said, I know y'all say God don't never make a mistake, but I think he made one this time. And y'all telling me to take it to God, telling me talk to God about it. But he the one that saw him, he knew that he was going to die and let it happen anyway. So why am I going to him when he could have stopped it in the first place? Because I'm going to have to, you know what I mean? And instead of just beating the girl down, you don't judge people on their worst moments.
That's right.
You know what I mean? But here's the good thing. People of faith can talk like that and be like that, but just, you got to work with them. And this is what I want to tell you, Doc. God will accept faith wherever he finds it, and the reason why he finds it is because he put it there.
Right.
Wherever he finds it, to whatever degree, and then he'll cultivate that faith.
Yes, he will.
To take it through the fertilizer of trials and issues, and make it into a strong faith, yeah? And then make it contagious.
Right.
Let me say that again. God will accept faith wherever he finds it, to whatever degree, even if it's mustard seed. Picture being, I had to squint it. Oh, there you go. And he'll take it no matter how small or how weak it is. Let me think about Jacob. How does he, or Samson, how does Samson make it in Hebrews chapter 11? Samson, how you get it?
Right.
It seems like he's always wrestling with what his purpose was.
Yeah, it look like he ain't even resting. He's just laying down there. He just, ain't no fight. Good Lord. Like, how you get there? So, evidently God sees some stuff we ain't seeing. But he'll accept faith wherever he finds it, to whatever degree, and then he'll cultivate that thing. Grow it, make it to a strong faith, and then where it becomes contagious. Try that out on Abraham's life. Or Isaac, or Jacob, or whoever, Peter, whoever. All right. So we just fragile people, but God got you. God has you. Kept by the power of God, 1 Peter, through faith.
Yeah.
So his omnipotent power not only keeps you in terms of salvation, but through faith, he also holds your faith.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, and you brought some of this up, or a little bit, or in the example that you used about the woman whose husband passed away. If you would speak to that a little bit in light of what we as a nation just saw with Kobe Bryant, because I'll tell you why I'm asking this question. I have a friend who's atheist, and he asked me this question. If God is real, why didn't he stop Kobe Bryant from dying? How would you respond to that?
A lot of ways, it depends on where the guy is.
And I'm thinking about, you know, and I'm thinking about the point of eschatology, because what's man's, you know, final destination?
Yeah, but if you,
God's desire.
yeah, but eschatology dealing with God's plan. But if you haven't bought into God's purpose, he that comes to God must first believe that he is. So if you're coming with this approach that in order for me to accept you, I'm going to have to accept you on my terms. And there's some stuff going on in this world that I'm going to bring you into a business meeting. Here are the problems I have with you, how you run in this world. And until you fix this on my terms, then I believe in you. God's like, no,
I get that, but
so
I'm asking,
I would approach it, I may approach it like that and say, like your average. Another way to approach it is this. There's a lot of assumptions there. Kobe Bryant is dead. You're an atheist. What's wrong with death? Are you putting a moral value? What kind of value are you putting on death?
Right.
Because if we come from nowhere and we're going nowhere, why is death a bad thing? See what I'm saying?
Right.
All right. So wait, you know, you don't even have a value. You can't even talk to me about right and wrong if there's no authority. You can just only talk about what's right for you, but if you ain't got no God, you can't talk about right and wrong outside of yourself. So where you? So tell me. So I would put the ball back in this court. Why is death? Because I'm gonna say it's gonna be a better place and all that. No. Why is death a bad thing?
The issue for me is one of the things I shared with him is, you know, you got to first give me a reason why God should have prevented the death.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and I'm asking this because of the fact that, because of the fact that, you know, as believers, speaking to the end times for humanity, God's ultimate desire for humanity, is it this side of glory or the next?
It's the next. It's both ends. And what happens here, we live to live again. YOLO. They put that on the thing now, you know. YOLO.